Get ready for a lot of fun and excitement.
Hello and greetings. I'm DJ Cams, and today I'm going to be asking the questions. This is 30 years, one voice, the music, the man, the legacy, Vijay Singh.
Hi, pleased to meet you, Cam. How are you?
Nice to see you, Vijay.
Okay, good, right. So, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਜੋ ਛਾਲ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, assalamu alaikum, welcome and join us on my journey, 30 years, one voice.
We are going to take it right back 30 years. How did the journey with Achanuk begin?
The genesis or the shuruat of Achanak took place with three ingredients. Firstly, it was myself, Vijay Singh, the song, the lyrics, Lakanu Halade, and the third one was Ninder Johal. And we recruited the rest of the band members. We released the album in 1989, and suddenly Achanak was born.
Amazing, amazing. What were the challenges?
Achanak exploded on the scene with a unique Punjabi sound. It was a fusion sound, and we sort of, through resilience, through hard work, through innovation, through a vision, we then actually produced a body of work, which was albums, electrifying live performances, pop videos. We were the first ones to do a proper pop video to the Bhangra song, Lakanu Halade. And to be honest, we then became part of the Bhangra legacy. So Cam, as first generation Asians, we came to the realization that we had the advantage of both vibes, the Western and the Eastern vibes. And what we then did was we combined the two, and we came up with a very prolific dance sound, which is Bhangra of the UK. That Bhangra became the cultural footprint. So all of a sudden, I was a very young teenager with a mic, and then Achanak gave me the platform of being a very young teenager with a mic, but also a stage.
And Vijay, can you just touch upon some of the challenges you faced along the way, just as a band vocalist?
As it comes to mind, I think because I was the only vocalist, I had to really look after myself. So I need to look at my mental health and I need to look at my physical health. So both of those things go in tandem. So I ate the right foods, I did training, I used to go to the gym, I used to keep myself fit. So there was that part of it which was really important to perform because we were inundated with shows. The other thing was that we ended up with three brilliant musicians, but they were also producers in the band. So we're talking about Vivek Naya, and then there was Suki Sohal, who was also a producer and a brilliant musician. And then there was Javed Remy. So what I ended up doing was working with all those three producers. So what I had to do was I had to change my vocal expressions to fit in with their style of production. And a classic example of that is on Have Faith, the religious album, where you will self-evidently see the different styles and the way I've sang the bhajans or songs, religious songs.
Wow, amazing words there. It's been such an arduous journey, 30 years in the making. Vijay, why have you decided to go solo now? Because this is what we're here to talk about.
No. Achanak has always been my family, okay? And they always will be. And it was an incredible journey, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. But I just came to a point where I felt that I wanted to express certain things by myself. I wanted to do things and express things and have that creative freedom to do that. I wanted to step outside the comfort zone, and I wanted to sort of realize why I fell in love with music in the first place. And therefore, I then embarked on doing this. I wanted to be around music, and I wanted to make sure that how I could do that. And it was go back into the studio. And then obviously we started recording Jump and Groove, the album.
That's amazing, Vijay. We've talked about some of the key moments of the past, of the present, and even the future. Let's go on to the album, Jump and Groove. Why did you decide to name it Jump and Groove?
Right, okay, Jump and Groove gives you this kind of a vibe about dance, which I love, and groove is the more soulful, deeper, you know, when you want to dance without thinking, And then the other one is when you put your headphones on, you close your eyes and you put some groovy tracks on. And this album has both. So you've got these kind of really infectious dance songs, which you can sort of, put them, play them and dance in your bedroom, on the dance floor, wherever you want to. And then you've got these kind of really groovy, thoughtful, soulful tracks. It's got both of those flavors. And that's why I could only call it Jump and Groove, which actually tells you a lot about what the album is all about.
Those are some great insights there, Vijay. What actually inspired the concept of the album?
Right, the concept of the album came about from my love of dance. Okay, I've always been in love with dance, but my hunger to produce those really groovy, thoughtful tracks. And I think both of those kind of things inspire me to make the music that I do. And obviously, I wanted it to be relevant to my audiences as well, because they've grown up with me since teenage years, say 25, 30 years ago. I wanted to produce dance tracks which had the roots in there, the root and the rhythm. But I also wanted to put a modern twist to it as well. So it was that. And then I believe I wanted to do tracks like Chagada, which is relevant in any setting. Love and Hate is another one. Punjabi Blues is another one. So I wanted to do these tracks as well, and that inspired me to do the dance and then to do the groovy tracks as well.
So Vijay, it seems like Jump and Groove is an influence of many, many different flavors. What was the creative process in writing these songs and bringing them into the public?
Right, my creative process always starts with triggers. Okay, so those triggers could happen in any sort of setting. I could be walking down the road, it could be a song, it could be someone saying something, and that then inspires me. The events around me inspire me to write the tracks. Once I've written the song, and then if I'm recording the song, as the song evolves, so do the lyrics. They chop and change to sort of see what kind of tune I'm putting it to and all kinds of things, or whether the words fit or not. So there is an iterative process that happens with the lyrics. It's like a jigsaw, putting a jigsaw together. वो ਜਿਹੜੀ सारी jigsaw है ना, वो फिर गाना बनता है, वो track बनती है. And that's the actual process, putting a whole creative process together to come to the outcome, which is the song. If you think outside the box, so it's an ordinary song, how can I make it extraordinary? And a great example of that is the love song on Jump and Groove, which is called Mirror Mirror. So my creative process was, how can I change this very kind of straightforward love song into Mirror Mirror on the wall kind of thing? And that's where, when everyone listens to that song, you'll see that little phrase in there, and that's where it comes from. It links in with the Punjabi lyrics, so and it really works, and that takes an ordinary track into an extraordinary one.
Wow. Vijay, I'm going to put you on the spot. What was the most challenging song that you found personally to work on the 11-track album?
Without a shadow of a doubt, it has to be Jump. Jump is a dance track, but I needed to sort of keep it relevant and modern, but also give it the Punjabi feel, the root rhythm feel. And therefore, when you listen to Jump, you will have things like Tol, Tumbi, Algoze, Bolinga in there. So it was a song with many moving parts, really. And it was a challenge to write it, to get the right flavor, to mix it. But, nothing is impossible. If it's in your vision, it's achievable, like they say. And we achieved what we now know is Jump on the album Jump and Groove.
Fantastic. That leads me on to another question. Can you just tell me about some of the stories on how these songs actually came into fruition?
When I think about the writing of Jump and Groove, bilkul hi mera man utthe chale janda. We had an extension built on the house. So we had Taliwal builders, brilliant, really skillful. Their management was absolutely marvelous. And during lunchtime, they used to all sit, and all the workers, they used to have their lunch break. And they used to come out with these cans of Red Bull. And I was thinking, well, they drink a lot of Red Bull. And I asked one of them, and they said, well, there is a lot of Red Bull that we consume. And in India, it's quite famous, and they drink it there as well. So therefore, I thought, well, why don't I write a boli about Red Bull? So I said, bari bari barsi khatne nu kalya, khat ke lianda Red Bull. And as the advert goes, Red Bull gives you wings. So I thought, ud ke aa jani. And then I had to rhyme the bull with another word. And that was a challenge in itself. So I thought, okay, ud ke aa jani, munde jande dol dol. So dol and bull rhymed. That's the story behind it. So the verses are boliyan on jump. But obviously the strap line, it's got two strap lines, which is Aja chal maar ke, hoy, hoy, everybody jump. So you've got these two strap lines, and nachle, 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 ni tu aja chal maar ke. That's how that song was born. The other song, I believe, it's another dance track, which is called Below. Now, I always find that dance tracks are very difficult to write because there are some keywords that we use, but it's the combination, the connotations of those keywords make the song different. If you want to do something in media, you need to find an angle. And that angle then makes it different. You've got to look for a different angle. And so that's what I was doing. I was looking for a different angle for the song. And then I thought, well, why don't we look at how people dance? Because dancing is always linked to rhythm. And I thought, why don't we just think of a dance band, a Bhangra band, playing away, the drummer, the toll player is playing the rhythm. But there is always, and there has been always, a lady or a gentleman dancing in a really, really groovy vibe. And what if those people that are playing those instruments, they are watching that lady or gentleman in astonishment and they forget their beats? And that's where the Billo song was written. And it's Bhul Jaane beat nahi jadon nachdi hai Billo, that they forget their beats when this really, really amazing lady is dancing in front of them. When you listen to the song Billo, there is a bit of Amy Winehouse feel to it as well, but you'll see that when you listen to the music. And the third one is Jhagda, dispute. I thought to myself, koi edan di gall nahi duniya de vich jado insan ne hosh samaliya, mankind, jhagde hunde hi aaya, right? Chahe jhagde family de vich a, chahe jhagde organisation de vich a, chahe jhagde nations de vich a, ਜਾਂ ਝਗੜੇ beliefs ਵਿੱਚ ਆ, ਝਗੜਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਔਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਆ. So ਮੈਂ ਸੋਚਿਆ, why don't I write a song about ਝਗੜਾ, about dispute between a man and a woman? And that's how the dispute song came about, because I wanted to make the album much more relevant, that people can listen to these tracks and think. So they have an altercation, the guy storms out of the house, he gets into his car and he drives off, and then the song starts. It's amazing because jado jhagda hunda with people that live together or love each other, there is always an outpouring of emotions and missing each other. And that's what the song has captured, dispute. So definitely those three, I thought would be quite good to talk about, Cam.
Fantastic insights there, Vijay. Absolutely love the stories behind some of the tracks there. Mm-hmm. Also, we'll talk about some of the musicians that collaborated with you to get these tracks out there. Can we just give them a mention as well?
Absolutely, Cam. Right. I had to write all this down because I don't want to miss anyone. So I'm going to have this piece of paper. All I've got on here is names. I'm going to start. This is a bit sad, but I'm going to start with the late Patrick Massey, who did a lot of the guitar work and worked a lot on the album. He passed away, and it is sad because he was looking so forward to the release of the album. Patrick, if I can say a little bit of introduction, is an ex-member of Achanak. He joined us way, way back, roughly about 25, 30 years ago as a guitarist. Brilliant guitarist, brilliant performer. And then obviously, as needs must, he left to do other things. And then about a year and a half, 2 years, when I was recording Jump and Groove, we met, we spoke, and we hit it off instantly. We became really good friends, and he expressed a desire to work on the album. And I thought, hey, Patrick, why not? And you could see the maturity from where he was. You know, he worked on a lot of the tracks. So there is a very big Sardanjali jida kehde da Punjabi de vich na, to him and his work on the album. The second bit is I'm going to talk about three giants in my life. I've had three giants. The first one is Tom Lowry from Planet 2 Studios, who did a lot of the programming. Most of the album Jump and Groove was recorded there as well. And I always say that he is my well-being guru, because you know, I had so many things swimming around for so many years in my head, and he actually helped me to release that tension, to release those jida Punjabi again kaida gubuglat, so he, you know, I said to him, Tom, you are my well-being guru. The other one is Pete Ware, who is amazing musician, amazing human being. By the way, these are all my very closest friends as well. Pete Ware is, you know, if you say to him, look, I think I need this sound, he's got such a sharp mind. He'll say, oh, right, there is a library with 2,000 and this is the 98th sound. Okay, so he worked on the track Punjabi Blues, and he, you know, again, he's a giant, and I stand on the shoulders of these giants. The other one is Ninder Johal. We've been friends for 40 years, and he's been my wisdom guru. He's been my support. He's been my positive throughout this whole journey. I mean, there is not a day that goes by that we don't converse over the phone 4 or 5 times. He's always been there, and we will remain to work again, you know, for the future as well. So I stand on the shoulders of these great big giants in my life. They helped me through a lot of difficult times as well as the good times. Right, the other one was, you've heard a lot of the flute in the album, and I'd like to say thank you to Robin Christian, Asian gentleman, who is an absolute guru, Ustadji, on his flute playing. He came into the studio with, I think it was these cases and cases of flutes. I remember the first time he played it, you know, there were tears streaming down my cheeks. So emotional, because, you know, one of the things people talk about is, will AI replace music? I don't think they will. You cannot replace live instruments. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. You know, they are on a different level. So I'd like to thank Christian, Robin Christian, violin, Naomi Wilmshurst, who came from London, amazing violinist, knew all the rags. As a non-Asian, she knew all her rags and everything, but the tone of her violin was mind-blowing, really, really good. Also, Paul Sampson, the guitarist, who played on some of the tracks, and obviously I've mentioned Patrick Massey, the late Patrick Massey as well. Now this next one is Gubsi Lakhanpal. Now he is a talent to himself. So he played Tol. This is live Tol, live Tumbi, Vaja, licks as well. That's his contribution. And he had another contribution, which I'll mention a bit later on. Backing vocals, Neeraj Naya, again an ex-Achanuk member, Gubsi Lakhanpal, Vijay Singh myself, Vishal Mahey, and obviously the late Patrick Massey, who did some of the, harmonies with me as well. And obviously lyrics. Now, there is a song which is called Face, right? Kive Mukreto Nazara Hatama, which is sung by the great Ustad Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. You can't replicate. So I decided I love the track, I'm going to do this track my way, okay? Obviously you listen to it and, you know, you can make your own judgments. So those lyrics are traditional. And then there is a lyricist in Pakistan, in Lahore, called Sabir Ali. And he then wrote one of the love songs, which is Mirror Mirror on the Wall, which I added to his lyrics. So he wrote that Pyar Da Gana, that love song on the album. And that's it really. That's everyone that have collaborated, worked on the album Jump and Groove.
You know what? Some wonderful words there, some wonderful tributes as well. You've got such a great team there. And of course, a big special mention to Patrick as well.
Yeah. Can I interrupt? Sorry. People say self-made men, right? There is no such thing, okay? You always have people around you, a team around you, or someone, those positive people that help you along your journey. So I don't really believe in this self-made thing. I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us, Vijay. That's, again, what wise words, what insights. I have to say...
Kalla banda koi nahi vadda, bas. This is a Punjabi kahavat hai.
Absolutely, I agree with that as well. I have to say, this album sounds like it's been a labour of love.
It has.
What has been your highs, the lows, and what do you prefer? Do you prefer more the studio work, or do you prefer performing these tracks live? Because we're going to go on to a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. Well, Cam, if I'm truthful, I prefer both. When you go on stage, you connect with your audience, you engage with your audience. It gives you a certain buzz. It's more spontaneous. And then the studio work is equally important because you then paint a picture in music in the studio. I think the studio work is more deliberate and it's more creative, deliberate. You look through the smaller details, you know, the finite details, where on stage it's more of engagement. So I love both. I love the studio work. I've always done that throughout my life and continue to do that. But also the live performance is really something on its own self. It's all about the vibe and it's all about the buzz. Buzz.
You're known for bringing music to the masses for the last 30 years. How do you think Punjabi music itself has actually evolved during those 30 years?
Right, how has it evolved? When we started out 30 years ago, everything was live instruments, everything was live. And then came the digital age. So now what you can do is you can, some musician in Canada can produce a track and drop it to some producer in the UK kind of thing. So there is a lot more collaboration between producers, musicians. And I think although evolution is good, but it's always good to stay with your roots as well. And I think that's really important. So the fundamental thing is that you've got to evolve, okay? Everything, because Isaac Newton said, the only thing constant is change. We are forever changing all the time. And so music changes, and I get that. But I think who you are and your culture has got to play a part in it. And I think it's quite good that there is more collaborations, there is more a digital age. And sometimes people ask, will AI take over? Doing this album, Jump and Groove, and you know, it's organically grown. So there was a lot of live performances by musicians, brilliant musicians. And I think the buzz I got from that, and obviously you'll see that, you can't replace that. Because it doesn't matter what you think about AI and digital music, live performances has a soul, AI doesn't have a soul. Okay, and that's the distinction.
What a wonderfully constructed answer there. You know what, Vijay, you are on the ball today. This is all I'm going to say. I was trying to go back to the album, actually, because there is a mixture of sounds there. And to be honest with you, your sound is known for being very, very fused with a lot of other genres. How do you do it? How do you make this happen?
Right, it all comes from your influences, how you grew up and what kind of environment you grew up in. We are first generation Asians that grew up in this country. We then had this kind of influence of East and West, and it's incorporating those two cultures and fusing them together to create a very prolific, a very powerful dance sound. A lot of people won't know this, but we as Asians in the UK, you know, we talk about a digital footprint. What we did was we created a cultural footprint, which is prevalent all over the world, globally, now, you know. So all that hard work that we did and the insights we had and the visions we had and how we explored and experimented with music for music's sake is now really the cultural footprint, which is everywhere globally. Everyone's doing it. But that's where it all started from. People sometimes don't realize that, but There you go, Cam.
Thank you so much. That was wonderfully answered. I'm going to put you on the spot, actually.
I've been on the spot
We've been
all my
listening
life.
to your music for 30 years. What does Vijay himself listen to? What's on your playlist?
On my playlist, any song that takes my fancy, anything that I love listening to, it'll be on there. So we're talking about from Glam Ali from Bade Glam Ali to all the way, sort of jazz, sort of R&B music. So any track which I think, I love listening to will be on my playlist. Punjabi music, anything. I listen to a lot of music. I have a dog. He's, and I take the dog out for a walk for about an hour. He's a slightly larger dog, but I still think he's a puppy, right? Because all parents do, don't they? So I take him out for a walk and I have my headphones on and I voraciously listen to music because that's one of my loves. That's kind of like my hobbies that I love doing is listening to music. You learn a lot, you enjoy a lot. Just listening to music, and there are millions of people in the world that's what they do. They listen to music that they love, they like, and I'm one of them.
Vijay, music keeps you sane. You've been keeping us sane as well by giving us your music. We've had some great conversation here today. It's been absolutely brilliant. Listen, what inspires you personally on a personal level? So forget the music. What inspires you to be who you are?
Me as a person and my inspiration comes from a number of things. One of the things is my faith. I come from a very Orthodox Sikh family, so I listen to Bhat for my mental well-being. I also listen to all types of music as well, which I've mentioned earlier. That helps me with my well-being. I also feel that keeping your mind sharp lends to keeping your body sharp as well. So have some sort of a training regime. I get up 5 a.m, I go jogging, I'll come home, I'll put the part on, I'll have my cup of tea, get ready, and start the day. I remember this thing that it's the hunger. You gotta have the hunger. And if you're hungry, look, let me ask you a question, Cam. Who is more hungrier? Is it the wolf climbing the hill or the wolf sitting on the hill? This is what you've got to think about, okay? Because once that hunger goes, everything else shuts down. I believe that, and I think you've got to keep that hunger going. And I think in terms of that to happen, your hunger for music to make better new music, you have to have the hunger. But ultimately, your well-being and how you are and how you feel is very, very important, because there are times when you will be in a zone where you are very much in a dark place and there'll be a lot of self-doubt. Am I doing the right thing? So you have to have this kind of iron will and believe in yourself to carry on in the work that you do, and and then let people decide whether they like it or not. And then you learn from it and move on. You got to keep moving on. It's almost like building your brand, isn't it? So it's a brand building thing. It's a long-term thing. ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਰਨੀ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਏ ਸੀਗੇ 30 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, ਹਨਾ? ਸਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੋਊਂਗਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੋਊਂਗਾ, ਜੰਪ ਐਂਡ ਗਰੂਵ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਕਦੀ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ. But here we are, and we're doing it, we're talking about it.
Vijay, this is 30 years, one voice. You've been in the industry for 30 years, you've seen it, you've done it, you're still doing it now. What advice would you give to any up-and-coming, budding artists that want to get into the game or are trying to break through at the moment?
I would say, Cam, a number of things comes to my mind. The first thing is never chase viral, okay? It's not all about the likes. It's about producing good music that moves people. So that's one of the things. The other thing is never give up rehearsing your skills. ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਿਆਜ਼ ਆ ਉਹ ਕਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਛੱਡਣਾ. That should form the backbone. My father used to say, if you do nothing, you will get nothing. ਸੋਫੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਬਣਨੀ. ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ, ਹੱਥ ਹਿਲਾਉਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ, ਫੇਰ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਹਨਾ? The other thing is resilience and self-belief. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ believe ਨਾ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ believe ਕਰਨਾ, ਹਨਾ? So you have to have that kind of iron-clad belief in yourself. But it doesn't mean that you don't listen to anyone. I think you listen, you take advice. The other thing is, I call it FOMO, fear of missing out. Okay. Don't ever think, if I don't do this, so you're very reactive. If I don't do this, I'm going to be left behind, that kind of thing, and that's a lot that happens with people as well. Your motive and opportunity really plays a big part. So you can't, pass that over. But at the same time, don't have a fear of it because it'll bug you down. And the other one is hustle culture, keeping up with the Joneses. Are you following what's going on, or are you going to create your own trend, your own style, your own music? And I think it's always good to have your own style. Who is Vijay? Who are you as an artist? What are you all about? What are your skill sets? And you've got to bring those out, and it's really important. That's what I don't know about the word advice, but that's what I would say to any upcoming budding artist. I think, Cam, life is very busy. You have to do a number of things. And within those things, you've got to open up and find time to do other things like your music. If you are in the music industry or you are linked with music, you've got to find the time to do things. And I think that's really, really important. Do your riyaz. You've got to find a time in the day. What's the best time for you to do your practice, riyaz, your skill? Okay? It's like vocal gym, isn't it? We go to the gym, we make our muscle ਬਣਾਈਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਗਲੇ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਮਸਲ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਬਣਾਉਣੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰਿਆਜ਼ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਬਣਦੇ ਆ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਗਾ ਰੇ ਗਾ ਮਾ ਪਾ ਦਾ ਨੀ ਤਾ ਨੀ ਸਾ ਨੀ ਦਾ ਪਾ ਮਾ ਗਾ ਰੇ ਸਾ. So, things like that, revise your scales, all those. Now, that's a given. That's a default setting. ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਨੇ ਹੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ, especially for a vocalist. ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ musician ਆ, ਬਿਨਾ practice ਤੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦੀ. Even if you are an ustad of your skill, still they practice. It's just like these footballers. They practice, 8 hours or something, football, They don't have to because they've got the talent. Talent in itself is not enough. You've got to stay relevant. You've got to practice. And I think this is the advice I've always given to myself, to challenge myself, okay? To challenge myself, right, I'm going to do the video to jump. The jump is a dance song. I'm going to be jumping around and dancing with 25-year-old youngsters who actually do dance for a living, okay? So I need to upskill my self if I'm going to be in the video. So what do? I get up 4:30 in the morning. I go out jogging, come back and start my day. To me, the advice I always give myself is that you've got to find time in a busy day. When's the best time for things to take place? Because if you don't, you get left behind. It's as simple as that. And even the whole process of making new music, making new songs in itself, in the garden, I used to just jump around, dance around, writing lyrics. I used to have a piece of paper and a pen. I have a pen and paper next to my bed as well, and I'll write, I'll get up at 3 a.m. and write songs. And I think it's amazing because when Achanuk Lakanu became viral, and I remember this, I was doing my dissertation. It was my final year engineering degree, and I was sitting in my room and I was writing my dissertation, typing it up, and I had the radio on, and the radio guy said, "Paji, aa jehda gana hai na, ਇਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਇੰਨੇ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਆਏ ਆ ਹਨਾ, I can't say all of them, so I won't, ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੇਬਲ ਚਿਹਰਾ ਪਰੇ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ ਹੁਣ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਗਾਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨਾ." And I thought, well, ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਗਾਣਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਆ, ਆਪਣਾ ਸੰਗੀਤ song, Hira song, Golden Star or whatever, and then all of a sudden he put the track on and it was da 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 har koi aake tu soni hai. I was just blown away. That's when I knew and I tasted that bit of success. It's almost like these days we call it viral, when something goes viral on media. That was how things went viral 30 odd years ago.
You're absolutely right. That was an iconic moment, an iconic viral period when that song came out. It was absolutely amazing. Everyone remembers it. What wonderful words there. What a wonderful answer. And I have to say, you hit the nail on the head. You have to respect the art. Whatever you give to the art is going to give back to you. Vijay, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you today. We've heard so many stories, so many insights. It's actually blown my mind. I hope the audience have enjoyed it as well. How has your audience changed over this 30-year period?
Right, Cam. I started the music when I was a very, very young teenager. Okay. So my audience have grown over the 25, 30 years with me. Therefore, hence, Jump and Groove is a more of a mature album because my audience have changed and moved on. They've grown. Life has taken place. And we are all in a different time and space now as we were about 25, 30 years ago. It's good to capture those moments of, take stock really is the word, of where we are now compared to, and if I'm in this place, my audience is as well. And so it's good to know that and respond to that when I'm making new music.
So Vijay, 30 years again in the game. It's been a long while, 3 decades. Can you just give us a quick recap of any particularly memorable moment and any highlights that you want to share with the audience?
3 come to my mind straight away, as you have now put me on the spot. The first one was Dubai, performing in front of 100,000 people. The second one was being on the same stage as Tom Jones and Prodigy and all these famous people, Fatboy Slim. And the third one is when Lakanu Halade went viral. Those are the 3 memorable moments. It was just unbelievable. Words can't describe it.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Vijay. Absolutely brilliant highlights there. I'm sure the audience can relate to that as well. Listen, the audience are there. They're your fans. How can the fans actually reach you? Because I know we've got a new page set up. I know we've got a new platform. What is the process of reaching out to you with this new journey that you're starting?
Cam, my fans, audience, people can reach me on three platforms that come to my mind. First of all, the Facebook page, which is Vijay Singh Muzik. And music is spelled phonetically Muzik UK. So that's my Facebook page. And the other one is the YouTube channel, which is at Vijay Singh Muzik. The links are actually on there. So you can reach me through there. And obviously my email, vijaysinghmusic@gmail.com. You can catch me on there as well. So yeah, please, it'd be nice to know what people are thinking out there, your views, your thoughts, your feelings. Great. Absolutely.
Fantastic, Vijay. Absolutely fantastic. There we have it. There is one question that I always ask myself when I see you, and I'm going to have to ask it for the audience as well. What is the most repeated question that people ask about you? And I'm pretty sure I know what everyone is going to say.
Okay, the question they ask me a lot is, what's your secret for staying so young? Okay, I've had to answer this question on radios as well, radio interviews. And I say a number of things. The obvious one is my DNA from my parents. And then the other thing is just eating healthy, training, keeping yourself fit, keeping your mind fit, and keeping yourself on the move, really. So it's 3 things. And I can't control the way I look, but I can certainly look after myself. And this is the thing, you see. I look after myself. I always think, how do I want my fans, my audience, people out there to look at me as Vijay Singh, And therefore, whatever the decision you make in your mind is how you want to shape your body, your mind, your future.
Brilliant, Vijay. You know what? That was the $1 million question, and you answered it so elegantly. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Vijay, I've got one final question for you.
Okay.
We've talked a little bit about the past. We've talked a little bit about the present. What does the future hold for Vijay Singh Muzik?
Right. I see the future as me being in it. That's the first thing. Okay. I'd like to be part of the future. And I want to make more music. I want to make music. I want to leave an enduring legacy which endures time, that people have got my songs on their playlists, wherever, anywhere on the globe. This is what, because you've got to have a vision, and if something is in your vision, it is achievable, right? And therefore, I've achieved, I've lasted, I have been for 30 years, and now the key thing is to stay relevant and be for another 30 years. Okay, that's how I see the future. Vijay Singh Muzik being out there, people enjoying it. Dekho ji, eh seva ya, community di seva. The community has just become bigger. It's a global community. ਅੱਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ communities ਅਸੀਂ serve ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ. Now we are serving that larger community. इन्हीं की कृपा सजे हम है नहीं ਮੋਸੋ ਗਰੀਬ ਕਰੋੜ ਪੜੇ. ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਿਹਰਬਾਨੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ ਥਰੂ 뮤직. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੋਗੇ, ਸਾਡੀ 뮤직 ਸੁਣਦੇ ਰਹੋਗੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ. ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵਿਜੇ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਤੇ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਫॉर joining me on this really in-depth session of 30 years, one voice.
Thank you, Vijay. I have been DJ Cams. This has been 30 years, one voice, the man, the music, the legacy. And all that remains from me is to tell you to keep listening to Vijay Singh Muzik.